with this auspicious ceremony of lighting of lamp and the blessings of goddess of knowledge, Ma Saraswati. We'll start the discussion in few minutes.
And Madam Shamala, the smart computing is a buzzword which you are also using in daily scenario. Can you relate this smart computing with the product what you have invented in the sports thing? Okay.
Thank you very much, Prof. Sridharan, I think this is the first time I have actually stayed back for a program before going to airport. I'm very paranoid about going, but that's the magic this man has and this conference has. First and foremost, I think the area of sports, as I mentioned yesterday in my talk, has two ways of looking at it. One is looking at it as it's fun. To tell you the truth, I'm in sports. Rarely do people take it seriously. But the accountability you have in sports is very high. Because although my profession is in computer science, when I was deputy president of Malaysian Hockey, you're dead. Either on the netizens, which is worse, which is immediate, or in the newspapers, and it's always the back page. So you can imagine how important it is, but rarely do people take a chance to give it importance. Currently, the market is very, it's like a Ferrari market. Couple of big boys, and the smart boys play the game at the top. They make all the bucks. For example, like the Olympic Games. Like the system we are doing, the games management system, from a computer science perspective, it's easy for us, to tell you the truth. It's huge, but it's basically just database. I mean, what can it be more, even when you do video analysis and it? It's about image processing, it is about database, it's about cloud computing. So from a computer science perspective, for me it looked, okay, it's doable. But it cost a lot. It goes into millions. So what our team decided to do with the Ministry of Youth and Sports on a very special occasion, they asked me whether we could develop a system like this for a fraction of the price. So this is really for the country we have developed. And what we have done is, in this games management system, we've of course put a lot of smart. It's really fantastic if you look at sports, because it's real time. One of the biggest distributed systems is actually the Olympic Games. Billions of devices running concurrently. You're watching, and nobody actually sits in front of the TV now. It's always on their mobile phone. They're watching it live there, and then they have a lot of sensors. And what we decided to do was, we developed this games management system starting in 2014. And as it evolved, it became more intelligent, like currently what's going on now. So what we did first is basic data entries and games management system. Our first system in 2018 had a 1 million hit throughout the 10 days of one of the biggest games, like the All India Games. We have the Malaysian Games. And we saved the government. Usually they actually have to rent. Every state that organizes it every 2 years has to go to about 8 million ringgit. They don't have to pay anything now, because system belongs to them. We jointly developed. And what we've done with the system is, in 2019, you can imagine how fast it grows. 2018, 1 million, whole 10 days. In 2022, 1 million per day. Yes. And this year, because our system is already known to people, we were I think I consider it lucky, Prof. The Cambodian government was hosting the Southeast Asian Games. Actually, ironically, it's one of the biggest games in the world because the contingent size are big. And to do a games management system, I've been involved with this from the Commonwealth Games in 1994. We did it with a Spain company, and it's evolved over the years. So you need 4 years to bid, to design, and to develop a system this big for the Southeast Asian Games. In January, they called us whether we can help the Cambodian government. So when I got the phone call, and they asked me, because it's my team who does it, the entire back end is ours, no one else. And you will believe my team is only 4 of us. Yeah. So that's kind of smart computing. And what we did was, I told them, yes, okay, we'll do it. And we actually did it, and we had almost 30 million hits across the world. On that, and we managed
That's
to do
great.
it.
That's great.
And one of the smartness, Prof, is that the cycling event is the best. Then, as you know how the speed they run, they have sensors on the bike, sensors detecting there, and there's one system that integrates with us. That instant they cross the line, it's on your phone already. And basically what we did was we used a lot of mobile computing as well and JSON files and so on. So for us, actually it's not that complicated, to tell you the truth. But it's a good area for us to actually do smart computing for the grassroots. I can tell you they have Catapult, they have Sports Code, Huddle, so many brands, you know, you wear West, and on the field performance is quite hard to penetrate, but you have many more opportunities.
So we will take up one question from Dr. Krishna Kumar, then I'll come back to you. Krishna, system requirement, because I'm Indian and you got a lot of experience in Japan context also.
Yes.
The system requirement as on today, from Indian context versus Japan context.
Okay.
What kind, and what has made Japanese to go for this much of technical dependent kind of thing?
I understand. First, thanks to all. Then presently, system requirements in especially Japan and India, if you say it's kind of a very big difference at present. Okay. See, Japan country-wise, it's predominantly a manufacturing-oriented country. You give any process, they will make it better. And they do the repeat process, they will come. Nobody can beat them. But whereas when it comes to the IT industry as well as IT hardware is separate. IT hardware, we cannot match Japanese. But IT system-wise as well as financial domain, these two areas Japan lacks in the process. The problem is, like unlike in India, the person who does the computer science, he will get into the computer course or computer-related job. If a person do a mechanical engineering, he will get into mechanical. Whereas in Japan, it's mostly a generalist. A BA, LLB guy, lawyer, he will be doing selling welding machines. He was my counterpart in Panasonic when I established. So the generalists learn the language and they pick up the thing. So in India, to simply define, they have the computer science experts. They design the specification in the macro level. From there, they keep developing a prototype. And when developing the prototype, they keep on improving the prototype on the agile basis, agile methodology. Japan, there is nothing, they know that kind of a concept. First, design phase itself, they will take 5 to 6 years. Until they convince fully everything on the papers, and this is the way image it looks, then only they will touch the work. That's the reason the sales for the IT people, it's taking long selling cycle in Japan. It's not one-man decision. In India, it's a pure top-down, whereas Japan, it's consensus-based building. All the relevant parties have to put their seal they have to put. Okay, I accept. Then only it get into a system. The other aspect is more preference given for functionality and user friendliness. Reason is Japan, as you all know, there's aging population. People are above 80, 90, they are all using systems. The reason is old people, they can't get food. Nobody lives like India, the parents, the children, they are all living together. No. Even I'm going to the hospital also in the morning. Most of the people come to the hospital mainly to talk to somebody. Because no, they're all alone. Nobody can help them. So they use with the mobile application, easily they can order their food. They press the button, at least they get the food. Something like that. So user friendliness, functionality is given more priority. Whereas in India, it's more system oriented and high level system design and easy to use. And India, they will adapt more new technologies later. Whereas Japan is purely customized solution for that particular application. Okay. And other point is, in India, any new technology comes immediately, they can integrate it with. But in Japan, it's not possible. They only, whatever the existing system, they are fundamentally the risk aversion people. So they cannot take it and they use the reforming of systems.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And we will move on to Shamalaji once again. And you have done a lot of research in wireless technologies. You got a lot of papers in that. So you just talk about glimpses, give the glimpses of the different wireless technology which you have used for your research. And what would be the futuristic expansion in this can happen?
Thank you, Prof. One of the things, wireless is really very beautiful now because I think the main thing is actually this. If you look at between the devices, the main thing that's pushing us is just like how an alarm clock wakes us up. It's the machine that controls us. The market, because everybody is dependent on the mobile device, that is why wireless has a very good growth in it. But the only main thing that's happening now, if you look at IR 5.0, the edge computing is becoming very powerful. It's a chicken and egg story, you know. First, people want to park everything on the phone. Becomes expensive, then they park on the cloud. Then the technology becomes more intelligent for the edge devices. Now I can give you more work so that you don't go all the way to the cloud. And because even, nanoseconds makes a difference, so we are really thinking whether we want it to go through the whole cloud and reach and process, although it's a couple of seconds. So if we can process locally, we'll do that. So if you look at wireless technology, we have a wide spectrum. But the ones that make it intelligent, to tell you the truth, is the one that costs least. So which means that you have to use ultrasound, radio frequency, be creative in using sensing technology like Bluetooth, and not only depend on the cellular network, which is actually very powerful, but it's just like when you buy a tablet. There's a very big difference between those which is Wi-Fi enabled and those that can actually get you on your 5G. So based on that, some of the research that we are doing is a wide spectrum. We are dealing with even something called proxy mobile IP, management of mobile IP when you move actually on stuff like that. We're working on a lot on edge computing as well. And then, of course, 5G and 6G, it moves a lot. I was just talking to Colonel when we were coming up. And one of the interesting things when you see, if you do resource management in IEEE 802.11 a couple of years ago, it's very easy. Because if this is the slot that's available, I just need to know how to manage it. Today, the bandwidth has increased tremendously into 5G because it's made into small micro things. So, many years ago, those in physics, you will know there's something called fluid dynamics. We always want to send the packet like fluid. So it's become like that, sir. So as we move on, we have to be creative in not only deciding whether we want to use the high-end 5G, 6G. We have many wireless options now in order to create for us to make our applications also user-friendly.
Thank you, Dr. Shamala. One last question for you, then you can proceed to airport. Do you want to say anything to the student community who are attending a large number in terms of considering research also as one of the pathway for their next step? Because it's very less in Indian context. People who take up research out of passion is very limited. Would you like to say, being a researcher, would you like to say something for the young student community who are attending this?
Yes, sir. No, one of the first things I like to share is it's always an honor to speak in India, to tell you the truth. When I go back home, I always share it with my students because the engagement you get, like yesterday when I gave the talk, I can tell you any conference, for 30 minutes, this professor has flown me across the country to come and share with you. It matters because you listen. That's the most important thing. Currently, 5 years ago, if I tell my students, very easy, when they want to do masters by coursework or masters by research. It's both postgrad. I just tell them, you want to be a lecturer? Do by research. You want to be in the private? Do by coursework. But now, I tell you, the people in the industry are already, everything is research. Basically what it is, you want to make things better. The good thing about postgraduate and research, it makes you think. That's the process. You don't become expert in anything. Because today, I was an expert in wired. The day I graduated and started work, I had to move wireless, which I never touched before this, and now I've become considerably a bit decent in that area. So most important thing I think that for students is that, number one, you must know that you are very good. You're brilliant, I can tell you that. And the capacity to do research is very easy. You just must have the heart and the interest to want to improve something. And once you do that, you need to know the skill set. Because learning now, it's very, kids in Malaysia, 6 years they're learning Python. So I joked with one of my friends and told, thank God I'm retiring in 10 years. Because by the time that 6 years becomes 21, I won't be in the university anymore. because, because as a professor in computer science, the thing you enjoy when you see first year students, do you know computer? Right? Do you know programming? And they will be blur. So you will be very dominant in the first year. Now, you can't ask them anything. They will teach you.
Yeah.
So I am very certain all of you all here who have taken the trouble to be part of this, always remember I have the highest respect for you all. You come from a land that's extremely brilliant and you honor it a lot. Your name carries it itself. So you must always remember that means a lot. You don't need to introduce yourself. Just say if you're from India That's it. I told when I'm coming to India. I'm very humbled. I prepared for this talk nearly 1.5 months to change my slide to make it worthy of your
I
attention.
mean to be
So-
self-critic always. Like,
Yeah.
yes.
So I wish you all the best,
believe
sir.
that always a better way of doing things. And it's time to leave. Dr.
Thank you.
Shyamala, thank you very much for your presence. Dr. Amit Raj, you being a medical practitioner, there should be some, what do you say, U-turn in your life. That U-turn we want to know how you became suddenly a technical expertise.
Thank you, sir, for inviting me. I'm in the midst of stalwarts in this domain. From the medical part, but always, trying to learn more from, fellow colleagues in different domains and trying to, implement those. Well, you've asked a very, touchy question at what made me. Well, I'm sure in my last previous, I traveled to Mawadi for the TEDx talk, where I did mention that, something really touchy changed, my perception. So probably, I'm sure everybody has someone or the other living in a rural village or someone who's been traveling to a remote location. So I lost my brother. A distant brother who've been having, medical problem, that is a heart problem. And, a couple of doctors in my family, but by the time we could reach, we couldn't do anything. So we were like, what has gone wrong? He was traveling down, for some work in the rural parts of UP. And suddenly he lost, we got to know that he's no more. So as a doctor, we wanted to analyze, what went wrong. Seeing the EKG, seeing, his presentation. And then, there was a gap. And we thought, me being the eldest in the family, I thought, there is a gap. If it is my brother, it can be your brother or your father or your relative, anybody. So what now? How can we, get this? So that was the touchy point. And then, went on exploring, then in a conference where, a couple of my tech friends from US, we were presenting a, lecture, so I was a guest, and they invited me to come in to give a small talk on healthcare. So, just heard them out. We all sat down after the conference. We signed an MOU in 5 minutes. It's like, let's integrate, let's build a system. I'm not a techie. So I have a techie friend who has a solution, but he's not able to, implement that in a larger scale. He's, he's an amazing guy. So we thought, I use medical devices. So we have developed an ecosystem where, anybody in a rural village can easily get diagnosed with a heart problem. That aligns me on my commitment towards healthcare excellence, providing, reaching out to the last mile. These are my, goals of my life, where how we can reach out. Being a, heart specialist, and I run a heart hospital with an amazing senior team of doctors and surgeons across. So how, we can bring in that experience to all. And even if one life saved with this ecosystem will definitely be impactful. And digital, we've been seeing digital growth in healthcare. Most of my medical devices in the ICU, in the cath lab, in the OT are all, med tech. So there's technology and there's med. So there is, a marriage between medical science and technology. So why can't we enhance that? Why can't we reach out? Why can't, Indian population is about 70% in the rural world. So why can't we make this available over there? And how could make it cost effective? So, that's the journey. And then, I'm very happy that I've been learning a lot from, industry and with the industry growing in technology, and India being, one of the front runners in tech in the global, wanted to just integrate that into our ecosystem. So a digital-based ecosystem, industry-driven technology, how, I can get, some mileage from them. So that motivated me to this.
Great to hear, sir. Just two bonus information. Dr. Amit Raj was a TEDx speaker in Marwadi University, maybe last year. It's one of the most impressive talks I ever heard. And secondly, today he is also signing an MOU with the Faculty of Computer Applications for for providing projects for the students and doing joint research with his company, Medcare. Let's move on to Brigadier Ramesh. We have been talking about cyber security at very, very low level, like protecting the individual, protecting a small organization. I'd like to know from you, is that this problem is there in nation side also, basically from government side also? What kind of threat we come across? Can you classify some of them? What are the agencies we have established from government side to detect and mitigate these kind of threats?
Thank you so much, Professor Sridharan. It's a nice opportunity, firstly, for me to be here, and I thank you all for being present here so that I can convey some of the knowledge which I have. And I'm sure there is so much to learn, so thank you so much for this opportunity. Cybersecurity is not to be seen only from an individual perspective. However, that's the building block. You've got to look at it from an individual perspective. When you see it from an individual perspective, it is about hygiene. How can you be safe, secure? And a lot of that does not only relate to devices and smart devices. This phone is probably the most powerful device you're using. It's also one of the most dangerous devices you're using, because there's a whole lot about privacy and security which can potentially get compromised. There are a number of people looking into what you're using and the data you're accessing to build their business. But there are a lot of people like me in the business to see what they can do about it. And that is done at a nation state level. So at a nation state level, you're trying to see how you can harness the data which is being produced to see how you can drive your national interest forward. And my national interest will not be the same as that of my adversaries. If China is looking at India, its interest will be the best of China and not that of India. Clear? Now you people
It's like
constitute...
a saddle point game, okay? Win or lose, okay?
Yeah.
Whether we are winning or not, whether others should lose kind of thing.
So finally, it is a zero-sum game in some of these matters, and it cannot be wished away. And each individual over here in this community which is sitting here is actually a point of strength or a point of vulnerability in providing access to the adversary into your systems. Now, a national system can be seen from multiple perspectives, and you're looking at government systems and private systems. You're looking at national critical information infrastructure, and you're looking at non-critical information infrastructure. For example, if you look at the taxation system of India and how you collect income tax, would you classify that as a critical information system? Maybe not. But then, if I can get into Pakistan and cripple its taxation system such that they don't know who owes them money and how much money actually exists, imagine the kind of chaos it will cause. If I get into the freight corridor of a country, or from where the ports are getting their they're doing their entire business, and cripple that. They don't know whether the stock has come or it has not come. What will reach the hinterland after that, right? If I can get into the nuclear system of a country and make it take off when it is not meant to take off, imagine what would happen. So there is a huge potential over there. And therefore, some which are directly critical in terms of the debilitating effect it will have on the national economy is one side, but some others have got cascading rippling effects. Now there are many agencies in our country, and in many countries we deal with this. You've got a dimension which looks at crime, and a dimension which looks at national security. And the trouble is that the crime and the national security merge together. Today, if I want to do an activity in an adversary country, I would try and stay at a level below the, at a subterranean level. So I will masquerade as a criminal agency to do that. So you don't know whether it's actually a criminal agency which is doing it, or it's a nation state which is putting the effort. And a nation state's effort is total. It's not limited in terms of resources. Everybody, the entire nation's resources in terms of research, in terms of development, in terms of hardware, in terms of software, in terms of access, in terms of intelligence, everything is put together to get that desired effect in the desired time frame. And finally, in terms of the agency we deal with it, you've got the MHA, which deals with a number of agencies related to crime, and they've got their drill down into states, into sectors. You've got the so they've got Intelligence Bureau, for instance. You've got the Research and Analysis Wing, which looks at some national level intelligence. You've got the Armed Forces, which have got their own agencies. You've got the Reserve Bank, which looks at financial frauds. So a number of agencies are involved. It may or may not be right for me to take all of their names, but as you go along in your career, in your service, I'm sure you will learn about them. And finally, I'm assuming that we will run out of time, so I want to say I was very proud to see Dr. Shamla here, and I want to see some of you there in her place next time.
That's great. That's great. Let's move on to Mr. Nikhil. Can you talk about the new age cyber threats?
So first of all, thank you very much, sir, for inviting us, and I'm here to learn from all of the fellow panelists also, and thank you for the wonderful audience. So when we talk about new age cyber threats, sir has covered from the national threat actors. We'll talk from the individual perspective, because everyone here is concerned about their data. And we work with law enforcement a lot for tackling with cyber crimes. So we divide, first of all, this type of cyber security or cyber crime into 4 major categories. Okay. So you may call, okay, there is a crypto fraud, or there is loan app fraud, there is electricity fraud, or OTP scam, financial frauds. But if we categorize, there are 4 major categories which we have categorized while working on any type of cyber crime at the individual level. So the first category is need. So whenever you are in need, I need a loan, and I go and search about loan app, or I am in need of a job, I'll go and search about, okay, I want to apply for an online job. And if you fall prey to a fake website or a fake app, then basically you are victimized there. So for that is need. Second is greed. Everyone must have received this message, okay, you have won a lottery. Still people are falling prey to that type of greeds. Nowadays, crypto. Invest money in crypto and you will get double, triple and 10 times. We have seen people losing from 500,000 rupees to crores of rupees. Few reported, few are non-reported also. So that things fall again in the category of we can say greed, or we can say free gifts. You will receive free gifts, so and so. So there are a lot of offers.
We even get some proposals in the attractive names of girls.
that category is coming. So the first is need, second is greed, third is lust. When he rightly pointed, hey, hi, you look handsome. We get happy, okay, I look handsome, yeah, so let's chat. So then that chatting gets converted into, we can say, sexting, that is sex talks, and then further nude video calls. And then you fall prey as a victim of cyber crime called as sextortion. And there's a lot of research going on sextortion. They extort basically money for not sending your video to your near and dear ones. And like the virus or the malware coming through the porn sites and everything, that covers under the lust category. And the fourth one is threat, which is like, okay, your ATM will be blocked if you don't give me this OTP. Your bank account will be freeze if you don't log in into this. Your social media account, where we are basically like so much, Instagram is our so much near and dear. If it gets blocked, then we cannot breathe. So if you lose money by any means, even it is your mistake or not your mistake. So there is a portal, NPCI is having a grievance portal. So you can basically raise a dispute there. Whatever phone pay or Google Pay you are using, you can raise a dispute there. And 1930 is the cybercrime helpline. You can call there, and there are like first 4 hours, we say it is a golden hour. So the soon you report, there is a possibility that the money can get freezed into that account itself. And there's a portal by Ministry of Home Affairs, cybercrime.gov.in. There also you can report. Rather than that, there is a wonderful website by a cop, a cyber cop, who is like doing a lot of cyber operations in UP, Professor Triveni Singh. So the420.in is the website. You can go and search for the nodal officers of that specific bank account. Okay, and just there is a nodal directory which is given there. You can just search about, okay, your money is gone to Paytm or Axis Bank or Yes Bank. You can write to that nodal officer stating this is the fraud which has happened and this is the acknowledgement.
Proofs are to be attached?
Yeah, you can attach. The more like you can say authenticity they feel, they'll go ahead with that. So basically, yes, so the 4 major categories are need, greed, lust and threat. So we should not fall victimized. Yes, we are moving towards digital India. Yeah, we are in. But we also need to move towards digital secured India. That is also one of the things which I will say.
Next to Dr. Krishna, and you said you are ready to invite some of our students to Japan, kind. So what about the people who are interested in startups in Japan? What kind of support the government of Japan can provide when compared to Indian government?
Presently, Japan recently started the startup initiatives. Mainly, as I mentioned earlier, Japanese people, they are mainly risk aversion people. Why Japan decision making is very slow? The reason is nobody, if I make a mistake in Rajkot, I can escape from this place and live in somewhere in Bangalore or Mysore or somewhere else, or Delhi. I can still work somewhere. But in Japan, it's not possible. The reason is, if I make some mistake in Tokyo, that will be spreaded across the entire Japan. It's a very small, very highly informative country. I cannot go and sustain, that's the one. That's the main reason people will try to avoid. He will be close, buddy with me, and he will come and eat Indian food at my home also. But he will, when I start up something, he will immediately, I become untouchable. So that's kind of a mindset is there. But reason is, failure is not accepted in the country. It's kind of a samurai culture. It's a kind of harakiri. It's even if especially in Monday morning, Japan is a high rate of suicide country. But however, Monday morning only lot of suicide happens. There's a prediction also there. That because of my bosses shouted at me, I could not perform, so they will take it on own. So then jump in front of the train like that. Okay. So luckily, even we commit mistakes, because that's the reason even system you asked in the previous question, bug is a bug. In India, it is acceptable. Small bugs are minor bug, it's okay. Japan, no. Even it's a small bug is a bug, you have to eliminate. That's the thing. So now the startup government is also promoting, okay, even if as a failure is not a problem, please start. Main areas of startups are coming in, like health tech, medical tech, logistic tech, lot of the things are coming up. They need resource crunch is highly is a painful area now. We are not getting the right person. So if you guys have anybody of you, you can clear level 5, level 4 Japanese language proficiency test. Bright chances to enter into Japan, and thereafter you have to brush up the language to come up to the level 2. Then level 2 means it's operative level, at least you can manage. Because day to day, nothing will be in English. Everything, all system requirements, documents, everything will be in Japanese only. Meetings will be in Japanese. So you have to understand, and then only you can grow with it. How the Japanese government are supporting, now they started with JETRO is a Japan External Trade Organization. They are giving an incubation centers also on free of cost. That's the one area. Second thing is local governments, they are promoting facilities, internet, everything is free, and Japanese government is putting grant. Surprisingly, major 3 areas now the Japanese government is supporting are, first thing is semiconductor industry. Now semiconductor is back again in Japan. Recently the focus has shifted. Number 2, climate, environment tech or climate change. Because government has set a goal of 2050, we have to become carbon neutral. So that's the second area. The third area is EV, electric vehicle. Because there is main problem is there is no resources even to drive the car. So everything in some of the near Toyota, this is called Aichi prefecture, like your Tamil Nadu, Gujarat, Maharashtra, like that. This is Aichi prefecture, all prefectures we call. In Aichi prefectures in some area completely, and one more Ishikawa prefecture. These 2 states, they have run driverless bus. Because all the old people have to go to the hospital in the morning. So it runs at 6:30. They press the button and get down and go to the hospital and come back and press like that. So opportunities are plenty. Governments are supporting, and Cool Japan is other concept. Now even railway station, below railway station in Tokyo, they put a one-stop solution for starting a business like that. Recently many events are happening, but not many forward. Compared to US, India and everywhere, Japan is very, very minuscule percentage of startups are happening now. But compared to 5 years back, tremendous improvements happening. Even Japanese government, Tokyo has announced, even Indian guys, if you want to come and open office, startups, they are welcoming.
Thank you, Krishna. And we are slightly extending this by another 5 minutes. Pardon, Dr. Sonali, because we started 5 minutes late. Dr. Amit Raj, you just talk about the different technologies of IT employed in your walk of life.
Well, I mean, technology is improving day by day, so um, uh, innovation and adaptation of technology, is something which I'm, looking at this moment. So it started off with, IoT. I mean, I never knew what is an IoT is, the definition of an IoT. But deep dive, learning has really, got me, yes, this is a unique, concept. So, we've been using IoT-based devices in our ecosystem, and, shortly, Indian medical device companies, are signing off with me to kind of enhance this ecosystem where a lot of IoT-based devices are placed in rural clinics, where I have set up heart clinics, that is mobile clinics, e-heart clinics. Example, somebody who walks in, in a village, chest pain. So somebody who's trained over there, or with a general practitioner, we give these devices. So, how a smartwatch watches your heart rate, watches your steps. So that moment, the ECG has been watched. So that's the gap, which was earlier. Now we have mitigated this gap by providing a medical device and using wireless technology, which ma'am did mention. It's getting reflected to the command center. And we doctors are seated in a larger city where we communicate via whatever said wireless portal. Earlier it was WhatsApp, and now with telemedicine on high note during COVID, this has bridged this gap. So accessibility. So my mission was to kind of reach out last mile. So accessibility is an issue in rural villages. For example, you're going to Leh Ladakh, suddenly you develop a chest pain. What do you do? What do you do there? So that's the problem and problem statement, and how do we mitigate that? Yes, we put a clinic over there, or else an IoT device over there. Why wireless? Phones are accessible. So accessibility is getting bridged by this IT tech, which is and we have deployed this in various parts along with my fellow colleagues who are techies, and we could phenomenally see good results. More than about 50,000 patients we have seen. We have scanned.
Doctor, you are going to implement metaverse also. Once implemented, what kind of impact you anticipate in your
metaverse is now the AR VR generation. So I'm sure most of you know about what Facebook and Meta. So as a practitioner, healthcare entrepreneur, I would feel that my focus is on my patient centricity. Patient should like me, and what best I can give to the patient, and what value I offer to the patients apart from the medical treatment. So metaverse is going to mitigate this. So the overall experience of a patient about his health, about the hospital, about the doctor. And this again bridges the accessibility issue as well. For example, I'm sure, this is, I'm not supposed to say this, but we are working on a pilot project where a senior cardiologist or a surgeon can advise a junior surgeon in a remote place using Meta. And then Metaverse has multiple applications as well. I'm sure apart from healthcare, there's education, there's education is something very phenomenal. Medical education, then many education institutes are going to adopt this Meta. A lot of use cases are there. So, and Metaverse is going to be completely based on value which we give to the patient, and patient would love to experience something which they have not experienced about themselves. What if I get a surgeon in America, in Rajkot, advising a junior surgeon, heart surgeon, a complex surgery? Rather, we go to America or we go to Delhi, Bombay. Why can't it be done as a senior surgeon over there? Like how aeroplane simulators are there, for pilots. Same thing for doctors. So industry-driven technology, metaverse, healthcare. So how do we collaborate on a disruptive model to bring in value to what we offer? So this is how I aim to in my.
Thank you, Doctor.